McGraw-Hill Audio presents Making Millions in Direct Sales. The 8 essential activities direct sales managers must do to build a successful team and earn more money. Written by Michael G. Malaghan. Narrated by Lloyd James. Introduction. Most sales managers do not have time for long treatises on management theory. They just want to know what works and how to do it. They need direct language for direct sales. This book not only shares its advice concisely, but presents more than 100 human interest stories to make those recommendations come alive. Making Millions in Direct Sales revolves around the 8 essential activities that successful sales managers must perform every day. These activities are sequenced to follow a particular logic. The first essential activity, sell. The second essential activity, prospect. The third essential activity, hire. The fourth essential activity, train. The fifth essential activity, replicate yourself. The sixth essential activity, motivate. The seventh essential activity, manage. And finally, the 8th essential activity, lead. For more than 30 years, I routinely asked my salespeople how they were doing with phrases like, "How many orders did you get?" or "How did it go yesterday?" I didn't realize that what the salesperson heard was, "How much money did you make for me?" My 50th birthday had passed before I started greeting my sales associates by asking, "What's the good news?" Let's face it, more often than not, a salesperson will not get an order on any particular day. Sales managers have more off days than on days. However, there is always good news. If the person got an order or hired a new salesperson, she will tell you immediately. However, the respondent can also let you know about the new referral program that produced 3 leads, the new newspaper ad that added more sales recruits, the big selling event scheduled at the mall this coming weekend. You get the drift. When I converted most of my conversations to start with, "What's the good news?" the effect was immediate. Most people were eager to tell me something positive. Making Millions in Direct Sales advocates successful sales management practices to build on the success you have already achieved. You have already proved that you have the personality and the work ethic to be successful in the direct sales industry. As your career progressed, you received training to enhance the skills and potential that you already had when you entered this industry. You have already faced and conquered obstacles. You have overcome the fear of failure and rejection. In short, you have what it takes to be a successful sales manager. You have the raw material to become a millionaire. What you may not have are all the skills it takes to be successful. However, the skills and competencies of successful sales managers can be learned by anyone who has already come as far as you have. That is very good news indeed. You can become a millionaire by managing commission salespeople and/or sales personnel whose salary and bonuses are directly tied to performance, because you can acquire all the practices and habits of successful sales management. There is no skill or habit that is beyond your competence. Making Millions in Direct Sales covers all those tools and shows how to use them to build your sales empire. First essential activity, sell. Successful selling. That's what earned you the opportunity to see if you have what it takes to be a good sales manager. To make the most of that management opportunity, you must continue to sell. Sales managers double their selling effectiveness when members of their team can watch them in action. Chapter 1. Set the example. Selling sales managers lead by example. If Missouri is the show-me state, then the face-to-face sales industry is the show-me business. Leading by example sets the tone in any business. But in sales, the boss's attitude and action reign supreme in managing salespeople. Salespeople start every pay period essentially unemployed until they sell their first order. They have the freedom to quit at any time, In my early days, I kept a plaque on my desk for all my salespeople to see. The speed of the boss is the speed of the team. It reminded me, and let my team know, that what I did mattered more than what I preached. You set the pace by your example. You do not have to be the best salesperson on your team, although that helps, but you must continue to engage in personal selling until you have sufficient managers under you to fulfill this mission. To be successful, you must endeavor to impersonate those heroes we so admire in action movies. You must lead from the front lines. By continuing to sell, not only do you maintain a high income, but you create a positive and powerful model for the team. As a sales manager, you send the message that selling is the job. Some sales managers talk about good selling. Other sales managers sell. Which type do you think leads more effectively? My best-selling years took place after I became a sales manager. I felt a personal and professional pressure to maintain a high sales level. Why? I might have doubted my leadership abilities, but I felt confident that I could and should set a good example. This approach worked. People in direct sales work alone. Sales managers working in the field are watching or being watched. Sales managers who sell infrequently and or who do not sell with their sales force impose an enormous handicap on both manpower growth and sales force retention. Personal selling can even be used as the exclusive method for training new sales recruits. Several times in my career, I entered a new territory by myself. I had to recruit and train a sales team, starting from zero. Financial survival would have been impossible if I had had to leave the field for several days to train new salespeople in the classroom. Conducting all the training in the field solved the problem. In between sales calls or at lunch, I used the time with my trainees to address how to handle the paperwork that comes with sales, such as how to fill out a contract and other such forms. The following chapter reveals the best field training and coaching practices. Chapter 2. Champion Field Training. Field training, or as some texts call it, coaching, must be both constant and variable, as your sales associates move from sales recruit/trainee to rookie to veteran. The constant must be that managers work in the field with their sales partners at every stage. What varies is the type of coaching experience. New recruits. Let's start with your new sales recruits, who need to see and hear live sales practices in the field so that they can observe rather than be observed. New salespeople often need up to 5 or even as many as 7 observed presentations before the odds swing to your favor that they will make it. Why 5 to 7 observed sales presentations instead of just 1 or 2? Let's walk through a little exercise to illustrate the point. We will replace the circumstance of a salesperson watching a live sales presentation with the alternative but similar situation of watching a movie. The first time we fix our eyes on a movie screen, we just enjoy the experience. We put our brain in observation mode. We simply listen, watch, and escape. We don't analyze the actor's techniques, how the special effects work, or how the director contrives to carry us along for an emotional ride. We lose ourselves in the experience. The second time we watch the same movie, we notice dialogue and scenery that we missed the first time, and we anticipate some of the more dramatic scenes. If we watch the movie a third time, we start to think a little like the director. We understand why some scenes were shot a certain way, or we surmise how the special effects director might have set up the scene. We have begun the shift from mere observation to a study-and-learn mode. The new salesperson experiences this same metamorphosis. Sales recruits often admit to being impressed by their first observed sales presentation. A few may even wonder if they can ever be that good. However, by the third presentation, most sales trainees are starting to dissect the sales presentation and learn from the techniques being shown them. The salesperson in waiting begins to appreciate concepts like the need story, and the automatic close. Hopefully, by the 5th to 7th time your trainee has observed a live sales talk, he or she will have become a little bored and will be anxious, and may even demand to deliver the next sales talk instead of observing. When the sales recruit says, "Send me in, coach," you have successfully field-trained a new salesperson who has a bright future. Rookies and the 2-day blank rule. What about field training after the trainee has graduated to producer status? Consider this scenario. New salesperson A wrote an order today. New salesperson B has worked for 2 days without getting an order. You can bet $1,000 of my money on which salesperson is more likely to submit an order tomorrow. Which are you betting on? Each day that a salesperson works without submitting an order increases the likelihood of that salesperson's blanking the next day. A combination of cascading doubt and some continued technical sales presentation flaw can spiral any salesperson into a slump. Once I recognized this phenomenon, I instituted the 2-day blank rule, which has made me a small fortune. It works like this. If a new salesperson goes 2 complete working days without an order, that salesperson needs more field training the following day. I used this system faithfully for a decade, managing door-to-door crews. Your selling situation might be different. Maybe it will be 3 days or 4 presentations without an order before you know that the odds of continued failure have crept into the equation. Wherever the fault line lies, field training is a ready remedy. You cannot talk a salesperson out of a slump. Instead, set a standard for retraining in the field and stick to it. Coaching the veterans. Your veterans need field help as much as new recruits or rookies, but probably not as often. And certainly the method should be adjusted depending on how much experience they have and what specific problem they are facing. What is most important is everyone recognizes that frequent field coaching is part of your management philosophy. Your people then know that it's an honor to be selected to work with the boss for a day. While new salespeople are usually best served by doing the observing, the veteran needs a combination of observing and being observed because the veteran needs a witness to his selling practices so that he can be told what he is doing right and what needs to be changed. Even Barry Bonds has a hitting coach to check his swing and stance. Let's review a few coaching guidelines when you are the observer. 1. Everyone knows her role in the joint sales call. If you are the observer, will you jump in to close the order? If so, under what circumstances? What is the signal so that the transition is smooth and natural? 2. Use the build, teach, build method of review after the sale. You start with a compliment to build up your staff member, then review the part of the selling process that needs improvement. Finally, you should find something else to compliment. 3. After the sales call, start the discussion by asking your sales rep for his analysis. Practice your active listening skills. Self-criticism is easier to take than your criticism. You can direct the discussion with questions like, "How would you evaluate our sales call?" Or, "Is there anything you would like to improve?" 4. Different personality types require different approaches. Your debriefing style should take into account your salesperson's personality type, not yours. Make it clear that it is the technique that is at fault, not the person, who can learn a better technique. 6. The quicker you provide the feedback, the better. 7. Toward the end of the review, ask, "How will you handle this same situation the next time?" And finally, 8. End all coaching sessions with a positive subject. The sales contest awards, the next training program, the new monthly selling special, and so on. Regardless of your sales partner's career stage, the benefits of field training go beyond the improvement of selling skills. The time a manager and trainee spend together traveling to and from the appointment often exceeds the time spent on the presentation itself. that getting to and from time leverages the benefits of field training in a number of ways. You can 1. Augment your dream building program. Most sales managers hold clinics on goal setting, but a one-on-one personal goal-setting discussion packs more punch than a speech delivered to a room full of people. Take advantage of your informal time together to privately coach your people to reach for their life's dreams. 2. Solve personality conflicts. Quality time to resolve the social and political issues that every sales office faces is hard to come by. Travel time affords the opportunity to let one of the protagonists air her grievances and give you time to listen before you ask her to let it go. And 3. Perk up closing clinics. An in-depth analysis of your rep's closing techniques immediately after a sale usually brings about greater improvements than next-day reviews at the sales meeting. When you act as a coach and provide constructive support through field training, you produce positive expectations and results. Your sales reps look forward to working with you because they expect their confidence, competency, and income to rise as a consequence. They know that your job is to make them a hero. Over the years, I have participated in lively debates on doing versus observing. Is it better for sales managers to perform the selling activity while a sales associate observes and picks up good sales practices? Or should the sales manager spend more time observing the salesperson, followed by a debriefing session to correct faults? Which is best? However, at the core of these debates were two fundamental agreements. 1. Both observing and being observed have their place and their benefits. And 2. Most sales managers would increase sales and reduce turnover if they spent more time in the field using either method. Effective field training, or coaching, drives sales like no other sales management activity. You can build on your primary talent, your selling ability. You know how to sell. You may always be learning how to manage better, but field training is one thing you can be great at from the get-go. Second essential activity: prospect. Prospecting acts as the linchpin for all that follows in this book. Unless you can show your sales professionals how to identify more prospects, you have little hope of inspiring your team to greatness, and no hope of building an empire. Prospecting is so important to successful selling that this book devotes 5 chapters to getting it right. This second essential activity will help you accomplish 2 things. First, any thoughts that you cannot possibly expand your current sales force because the market will not support more salespeople will be banished forever. And second, this section will give you and your marketing support staff a complete range of prospecting tools to double, triple, or even quadruple the number of leads generated for your sales representatives. Chapter 3. Seize all the market all the time. The foundation for successful sales management is finding customers. The market is usually substantially larger than most sales managers imagine. If you recognize and believe that there are more prospects than your current sales force is reaching, you will be eager to recruit, train, and motivate ever more sales representatives. All the market, all the time, presents an intimidating challenge. It requires sales managers to reach beyond their prospecting comfort zone to find and use additional lead-generating methods. I have worked through this conversion process with more than 20 national sales forces in a dozen countries. The process is never easy to start because it requires a major change in mindset, but it's always worth the effort. Having a variety of prospecting approaches always produces more orders for the simple reason that no one approach can reach all the potential buyers of any product. Why would you want to limit yourself by sticking with one prospecting method? Why not go for it all? Visualize 2 funnels jammed together over the open cover of a single Tupperware container. One funnel contains prospects, the other, sales representatives. When you mix the two, you get orders. The bigger the funnels, the more orders you get. It's that simple. Increasing sales is simply a matter of increasing the size of the two funnels that combine to produce orders. Hire more salespeople to sell to more prospects. Start with the more prospects funnel first. Focusing on prospects will give sales managers the confidence to hurdle the biggest obstacle they see to their success, that their sales force is close to optimizing the number of potential prospects. No more fear of, I can't hire any more salespeople, the current sales force has a hard time keeping busy as it is. This irrational, it's not my fault fear stifles the sales manager's zeal to hire more salespeople. A more varied and sophisticated prospecting commitment may require a new marketing perspective, a budgeting shuffle, more trained staff, and, most important, an open mind. Rate your current and potential prospecting systems as either capital-intensive or labor-intensive. At the capital end of the scale, you have the company setting the appointments for your salespeople. The salesperson compensates the company for the appointment by either accepting a lower commission or paying a fee for each appointment. A notch down on the capital-intensive end of the spectrum are company-generated leads. While the salesperson still has to follow up on the lead, most of his time is still spent selling rather than prospecting. At the opposite end of the scale is the labor-intensive system of going door-to-door, cold call telephoning, and booth sales, because all or most of the prospecting is the responsibility of the salesperson. As a rule, the more experienced and professional the sales force, the more likely it is that the prospecting systems will be capital-intensive. Younger, less experienced sales forces tend to be more labor-intensive in their prospecting approaches. Since most companies using face-to-face sales have a sales force with a broad range of selling experience, using as much of the prospecting spectrum as possible makes good business sense. The more prospecting methods you use, the more awareness of your company and its product you create in the marketplace. Prospecting builds brand recognition. Since the buying public prefers to buy merchandise from companies it recognizes, the more brand recognition you develop through various prospecting programs, the more likely it is that the prospect will be comfortable doing business with you and your company. Some prospects need to be approached repeatedly, and in a variety of ways, before an appointment can be made or a sale concluded. Initial failure in converting a prospect to an order is often just part of the consciousness-raising experience. Some prospects need more of this consciousness-raising over a longer period of time than others. Circumstances can alter a prospect's needs or buying power. For example, a new job or a birth or death in the family can change a prospect's attitude the next time an approach is made. Prospects come in a wide range of personalities and previous experiences. Some need to see live merchandise at a sales booth to feel comfortable about buying. Others prefer reading advertising copy in the comfort of their home. Some are enticed by the free gift rewarding a response. Then there are those who act on impulse, but whose impulsiveness may vary from day to day. Some prospects read magazines and newspapers and mail in leads. Others also may read the ad copy, but can't be bothered to mail in a card. Lots of people visit malls and exhibitions when your company has a sales booth, but many more do not. So, you can see how unlikely it is that any one or two prospecting methods can access all the market all the time. The more ways you give a prospect to hear about your product or service, the better your chances of raising that prospect's subliminal need for it. This triggers the response that you and your salespeople hope to elicit, buying you those precious few seconds of time to earn permission to deliver the sales talk. In the next few chapters, we'll examine a wide range of prospecting methods and help you determine which is best for your bottom line. Chapter 4. Hail the Classics, Door-to-Door, and Telephone Appointment. No matter how successful you or your company is in developing leads, including referrals, you cannot reach all the market without some cold calling. Some prospects will just not step forward and say, "Here I am." Cold calling smooths out the peaks and valleys of lead programs. Cold calling generates the lowest cost orders. But prolonged cold calling can be daunting. By the time we migrate to sales management, we have learned that giving and observing sales presentations not only provides more joy than prospecting, but avoids burnout. Door to door. Face-to-face sales are enjoying a strong resurgence, as reported in a 2003 article by Jane Spencer in the Wall Street Journal. Dozens of companies, including AT&T Corporation and regional utilities, are unleashing armies of door-to-door sales representatives to pitch services such as phones, cable television, and natural gas. Comcast Corporation registered 40,000 customers last year with its door-to-door win-back campaign that involved wooing customers from competition such as DirecTV. Similarly, Fortune magazine featured Darrell Harms as the door-to-door billionaire in its series 11 World-Class Entrepreneurs. Harms built his TV cable business by going block to block, zeroing in on houses with the tallest antennas. Recent do-not-call legislation has allowed millions of people to register their phone numbers to stop telemarketers. Many of these telemarketing companies are switching to face-to-face sales to move products and services. This is another reason the direct sales industry will be growing by leaps and bounds in the years ahead. Here are 5 practical ways to get the most out of door-to-door selling. 1. Card the neighborhood. Maintain a card or Palm Pilot file on who lives at each address. Copy down the residents' names from the mailboxes, or the list adjacent to the entry buzzer when canvassing apartments. Develop a code that gives you information quickly, such as husband and wife only home together on weekends, occupant has already been approached, and so forth. By doing so, you can rotate salespeople working the same housing without worrying about calling on the same person twice, and also be the first to catch the much-prized new move-ins. 2. Combine daytime appointments and nighttime orders. Use the daytime, when people feel more comfortable talking to strangers, to set up appointments, and the evening to deliver the sales presentation. More working people than ever are home during the day. They may be self-employed, telecommuting, or working evening hours. 3. Offer a free service gift. Offer a free gift in exchange for an appointment. It is easier to make an appointment when the prospect is guaranteed to receive something free. For example, A. Home improvement, a free energy efficiency check. B. Water purifier, a free water analysis. C. Educational products, a free child evaluation test. And D. Fitness center, a free 7-day trial. Tie in the gift with the product or service you are selling. Free tickets to a movie, a certificate to a restaurant, or some other enticing unrelated gift might sound like a good idea, but when you offer a gift with no tie-in to the product or service sold, you are guaranteed to get an appointment with people who have no interest in or need for your product. 4. Use new salespeople to set appointments. Teach new salespeople how to set appointments during their first week of training. New sales trainees can learn the short appointment talk more quickly than the much longer sales talk. The skills needed for setting appointments are more easily mastered than those needed for closing orders. Your new recruits are usually delighted to get a training appointment fee for setting appointments that result in an order. Not only do you create an effective low-cost appointment system, but you provide a learning exercise for your new salesperson. The training section in Chapter 10 provides more information about this sales trainee appointment. And finally, 5. Hire door-to-door appointment setters. The current and increasing resistance to phone selling, new legal hurdles, and telephone call filtering devices make door-to-door appointment setting at least worth a test. An offshoot of door-to-door is jumping in.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?